Today on Locked On Red Wings, a lot. There is quite a bit today. Moritz Seider news, Jonatan Berggren news, Sebastian Cossa news, Marc Staal news, Turner Elson news, and then previewing the Toronto Maple Leafs. Did I leave anyone out there, Scotty?
I don't know, dude. My foot just cramped so bad.
Locked On Red Wings.
You're Locked On Red Wings, your daily podcast on the Detroit Red Wings. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, welcome back to another episode of Locked On Foot Cramps. How you doing today, Scotty?
I'm doing all right, man. I'm feeling a lot better now. I just got felt like I got bit in the middle of your first attempt, by the way. Cold open.
I just was like, there's so much to get to. I'm like, today on Locked On Red Wings, a lot.
Yeah.
There is a lot.
Yeah, I'm feeling better now, though. I think I can go back in, Coach.
Good.
Man, it literally felt like a snake just bit me right there. That was brutal.
Walk it off. Don't be a wuss.
I mean, I'm here. I'm
You're
playing
here?
through it. What are we talking about?
We're talking about the Detroit Red Wings and a myriad of things today. But
a
first,
lot going on.
Want to thank you guys for making Locked On Red Wings your first listen every single day. We are free and available on all platforms. For some reason, I thought you said there was an awkward pause. I thought you said you locked one on, and I was like, is that a pun? And then I realized you said there's a lot going on.
There's a lot going on. Yeah.
So we're already off to a horrendous start.
I will articulate better.
I just think I'm deaf, man. I think I might need hearing aids. I'm only 26.
It's definitely your fault.
Earbuds in my ears. Well, now we're off to a great start. But guys, we're going to talk to you. Let's lead it off here with the Moritz Seider news. The Professional Hockey Writers Association announced their final trophy tracker iteration, and the Calder Trophy is the one that they announced. And Moritz Seider, like pretty much every single one except for that one where Zegras took the lead by 2 points, Moritz Seider is very healthily in the lead. Out of 17 voters, he took 14 first place votes, and he is pretty much a landslide. Man, where am I going with this? Butchering this at the beginning. It is a landslide, but it's not official. This is just a trophy tracker. But it's still great to see that throughout the entire season, this has been consistently where he has been at. And it really reassures me because, honestly, there was a part of me for a moment there, Scotty, where I was a little nervous that Michael Bunting, with that exciting season he's having with Toronto, might surpass what Moritz Seider's accomplished with the Detroit Red Wings. So to see that in this final trophy tracker, Moritz Seider is still dominating. Guys, Michael Bunting got 1 out of 17 first-place votes. Moritz Seider got 14. This is, and Scott, you said it best last week, this is Moritz Seider's trophy to lose.
Yeah, at this point, I would be shocked if it wasn't unanimous. And it should be unanimous. He is comfortably the best rookie. He is, if you took the entire rookie class and laid them all out and just had a draft where every team could take one rookie from this year's rookie class, Moritz Seider would go 1-1 every single day of the week and twice on Sunday. I don't think it's particularly close, and I'm really glad that we are starting to recognize that. I think the kind of the nebs and flow of the season, it was really interesting to keep track of it because really early on, it was Raymond, right?
Yeah.
A month into the season, it was Raymond off to the hot start. Lucas Raymond, Calder favorite in probably October, November.
Yeah.
And everybody's Raymond's to lose. And then in those winter, heavy winter months, December, January, February is when Zegras had his, moments of fame and did his fancy stuff. And so he overtook Seider in some polls for a little bit. I mean, a pretty lengthy period of time, a month or two, honestly. He was probably considered to be the Calder favorite for a while there. And not saying he was, I think we all adamantly disagreed with it. And we even talked about on the show how we disagreed with it. and they were kind of choosing flash over production. But regardless, he was the leader at one point, and then I'd say like the All-Star break happened and Zegras got a lot quieter after the All-Star break, and Raymond had cooled down a lot too. And he stayed, not that he stayed, cold or whatever, not that he struggled, but wasn't off to that, super, super hot start that he was on at the beginning of the year. And then by 2 weeks after the All-Star break, 3 weeks after the All-Star break, it was pretty much then just became Moritz Seider's award to lose, and he's taken that and absolutely ran with it. And I truly do think that he should and will win unanimously.
Oh, I see. Unanimously is what he should get. Probably won't be unanimous, but he'll win by a landslide, much like he did in this poll.
Well, you said what? He was a vote away from unanimous in this one?
14 of 17 first place votes.
Oh, okay.
So there were 3 guys who didn't vote in first place, but he still got 14 out of 17. Here's the total breakdown of it. Seider is favored among 17 NHL.com writers to win the Calder this season, receiving 76 voting points, including 14 of 17 first-place votes. Toronto Maple Leafs forward Michael Bunting finished second with 57 points and 1 first-place vote. Anaheim Ducks forward Trevor Zegras was third with 50 points, 2 first place. And Boston Bruins Jeremy Swayman with 4th, 24 points, and Detroit forward Lucas Raymond was 5th with 24 points. I do want to put this out there as well. I'm actually glad that Jeremy Swayman's finally on one of these because I think he's been having a fantastic year in net with the Boston Bruins. I mean, he took over a big role with Tuukka Rask leaving, but he has been fantastic for the Bruins this season. So I'm glad to see him getting a little bit of recognition. But yeah, Moritz Seider. I am glad that Lucas Raymond is still on that list, but much to what you were just saying, he's still been very good this season. I mean, he's got, 56 points? 56 points for a rookie is fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
Like, he's been great. But he definitely cooled off from his hot start, and other rookie forwards, have outperformed him since then. Again, not taking anything away from what Lucas Raymond's done, but it makes sense that he slid down in that ranking a little bit. But Moritz Seider has been consistently good this entire season. Jeff Blashill, in a quote from that same article, by the way, I just quoted that article from NHL.com. So if you want to go read that article, it's on NHL.com, Trophy Tracker, Final Update, Calder. But the quote from Jeff Blashill said he was really, really great early on when we were really competitive, but even now still when we're not competitive, like he's playing first power play, he's playing first penalty kill, he's leading the team in minutes. He's done everything for this team. He's leading all rookies in total assists. He's 4th among rookies in total points, the only defenseman among them in that top 4. And then he's 14th among all defensemen in total points. And I think he's at, 44 points? Let me double check here. He's at 43 points in all the games he's played this season, 79 games played. He's played every single game, and he's done it on a team called the Detroit Red Wings. I mean, if you compare that to the guys who are on other teams, I mean, Bunting's playing for Toronto, one of the best teams in the league. Zegras, albeit playing for Anaheim, cooled off significantly in the second half of the year, and he's going to miss the playoffs.
Like when he was in the top of the conversation, Anaheim was a playoff team.
Yeah.
Right? Like when Zegras was really considered to be like the Calder favorite at one point in the winter, that was while the Ducks were off to their crazy hot start and were actually in the playoff picture like months into the season.
So it just makes so much sense that it's Moritz Seider's trophy to lose. And it really did quell my nerves. I don't know. I got that anxious feeling too when Trevor Zegras, that one poll where Zegras had 2 more points than Moritz Seider.
We talked about that on here. We had an episode, and I told you to slow your roll.
And you were right. You were absolutely right. And here we go again. I got a little anxious with Michael Bunting and all the discourse on Twitter about how great Michael Bunting's been, and he has been great. He has been fantastic. And if you look at his possession metrics, even relative to his teammates, he's been a positive impact on the ice, which is why I love possession metrics. They still have a long way to go in the hockey realm, but they're getting there. And so you can see that Michael Bunting, well, I like to joke that you could put a pylon cone between Marner and Matthews and score 20 goals. Bunting has been providing to that line in his own right as well. But what Moritz Seider has done as a 19-year or 20-year-old, now 21-year-old with the Detroit Red Wings is unparalleled. Yeah. He is by far and away the best rookie this season. And he is going to be the first Red Wings rookie since 1968 to win the Calder Trophy.
Which is awesome that we get to see that.
Yeah, definitely a little something to hang our hat on this year. Oh, And I think I said it last night, but he is 8th among all defensemen in the NHL in blocked shots with 157.
Yeah. I think you said something about him. You were like comparing him and Rasmussen or something.
Rasmussen was 9th among all forwards with 50 something. I can't remember off the top of my head. 50 something shots. But yeah, he's
got that dog in him.
He's got that dog in him. Guys, Moritz Seider, he is him.
Yeah, he is him. He's also not 40. So
he wasn't around to play with guys like Gordie Howe, like Michael Bunting was.
Correct.
All right, got to talk to you guys today about HelloFresh. With HelloFresh, you get farm fresh, pre-portioned ingredients and seasonal recipes delivered right to your doorstep. Skip trips to the grocery store and count on HelloFresh to make home cooking easy, fun, and affordable. That's why it's America's #1 meal kit. So with HelloFresh, you guys are going to get farm fresh, seasonal produce, and easy-to-make recipes delivered right to your door every week. Ingredients travel from the farm to your doorstep in under a week, so they are always arriving fresh, all without a trip to the grocery store or farmer's market. HelloFresh has fit and wholesome recipes for satisfying and nutritious meals that you can feel good about, with 6 recipes per week to choose from, including low-calorie and carb-conscious options. I've used HelloFresh before. My parents are using HelloFresh now. And everything they say in this ad read is actually, I can attest, it is 100% true. I mean, they always came in a box with tons of ice packs in it. They gave you ingredient cards. They gave you all the ingredients you need. So prep was very simple, and the instructions were very clear, and the meals were always very good. And I'm a man who doesn't like his greens. I eat a lot of red meat, so I'm going to have heart problems when I get older. But even the vegetables in these HelloFresh meals were fantastic. And I'm hard to please when it comes with vegetables, but they were fantastic. And of course, all the meat dishes were fantastic as well. The pork chops, the steaks, the burgers. I don't even like seafood that much, and I even like the salmon. Like there was little to none that I did not like about HelloFresh, and I can guarantee that you guys are going to be the same way if you give it a shot. So go to HelloFresh.com, HelloFresh.com/LockedOn16 and use code LockedOn16 for up to 16 free meals and up to 3 free gifts. Again, go to HelloFresh.com/LockedOn16, use LockedOn16 for up to 16 free meals and 3 free gifts. I got a little bit of semantic satiation there, Scotty, where you say something too many times and it loses its meaning. I said LockedOn16 like 6 times.
Yeah. Did you say it maybe 16 times?
And 3 free gifts?
You forgot the banner.
Well, shut up. You do it. That reminds me, you posted a clip on social media the other day, and it was me saying shut up, and then you looked at the camera, you're like, what? I genuinely don't remember that, but when you posted it, like, it got a hearty laugh out of me. It's just your reaction to it. You're just like, what? It's so funny.
I looked and I said, what do you mean?
What do you mean? Yeah. It's so good. I don't remember that.
I don't even remember the context of that. I think that was just like after the end of a segment, and I just said something, and you were just like fooling around. You were like, "Shut up!" And I was like, "What?
What do you mean?"
Yeah.
Where do you want to go from here? Do you want to talk about Sebastian Cossa or Jonatan Berggren?
I would love to talk about Sebastian Cossa.
All right, so Sebastian Cossa is the WHL, the Western Hockey League goaltender of the week. He started 2-0-0 in his playoff series, and he posted 1 shutout and only allowed 1 goal in the other. He's got a save percentage of 0.9. Let me just double check on this. I don't want to misread you guys. He got a save percentage of 0.98 and a goals against average of 0.50 in those 2 games. On the season as a whole, he had a .913 save percentage, which is still very good, playing much better competition this year than he did last year, because now the league's opened up to more teams. He, Scotty, is looking pretty good after a lot of naysayers during the World Juniors were talking about his inconsistency and lack of starts.
Yeah, well, the big thing was that he just like didn't play, and we were all like, "What the hell is going on?" I think that it's interesting. Obviously, this is fantastic, and him getting drafted was a huge shock to everybody, and I think people pretty quickly jumped on board, right? Like myself included, right? Like
I mean, it was a Steve Yzerman pick. I immediately jump on board with whoever he chooses.
Well, yes, correct. I agree with that. But also just the initial shock of everything kind of went away really quickly when we, he's huge and you can't teach size, and he's very athletic, and he's, incredible. And just already watching him take those steps as young as he is and start to take those steps and get better as the season goes on is already so fun just to keep tabs on, to watch. So to be highlighted by something like this and to put together he went 2-0, one was a shutout and one was a one piece, right?
Yeah, he made 50 of 51 saves in those 2 playoff games against the Lethbridge Hurricanes.
Yeah, and they were like, where you're at in the season and everything. It's awesome. So I hope that this adds to the lore of him. I hope that this continues to get people excited, and I'm really pumped for next year for him because if he's already taking these strides at the end of this season, I'm really excited for the potential of where he plays and how he plays next year.
Yeah, and what's really interesting too is obviously being named goaltender of the week is, not as hefty of an award as Wallander winning the U20 Player of the Year in the SHL, and Edmondson and Andresen being named Rookie of the Year candidates. But it's really awesome to see that, and we'll talk about it in Jonatan Berggren in a moment, but every single prospect, it seems like, has taken a huge step forward this season in their development. And, that's relative to each individual player. But, Sebastian Cossa, his save percentage last year was .941, which is incredible. But when you look at the competition they were playing against, the WHL, the division he was in, was much weaker last year because of COVID. It was a much smaller bubble against much worse teams. So, of course, his numbers were a bit inflated. This year, in a full 46-game season, or not 46-game season, but the 46 games he did play, rather, for them, he posted a .913 save percentage and a goals against average of 2.28 a game. He put his team in an opportunity to win every single game. He had 6 shutouts in that span. You go to the playoffs, he makes 50 of 51 saves in the first 2 games. That's clutch. That is clutch factor. So, I'm already done. I'm already done and over with that the whole rhetoric from the World Juniors. I don't care what the reasoning was. He might have just been off his game. But the fact that here, in a big moment, in the playoffs, the
World Juniors got cut short.
The World Juniors were weird this year.
Yeah.
It's hard to take anything seriously that happened, except for the Simon Edmondson breakaway goal, because it helps my narrative, like you said.
What's the first rule of statistics?
If it helps my narrative.
Damn right, brother.
But all jokes aside, he took another huge step forward this year. Edmondson took a huge step forward this year. You saw Wallander take a huge step forward this year. He's looking like, when he was drafted, he was kind of that player with a lot of raw potential to see if he could get polished, and he's polishing nicely. He's turning into a genuine diamond for the Detroit Red Wings defensive prospect core. So all these prospects, and again, Elmer Soderblom, I could go on and on, but all these prospects took a huge step forward relative to their own development, and it's really nice to see that so far it doesn't really feel, and every draft class and not every prospect's ever going to pan out, but there's a lot of players that are on the right track. There's not a lot of, you're hearing more about players on the right track than you are about players that are falling off altogether.
Yeah, and I think for me, the most important thing is organizational depth. You can't maintain a successful product without organizational depth. So it's one thing to have a really top-heavy system and know you have a couple of guys that are going to come up here and just be stars, and you can build a core around them and go, win a title or make a deep playoff run or whatever. It's a whole nother thing to have to hit on so, and hit doesn't mean like this dude's a superstar, but to hit on an NHL caliber player as often as you possibly can in all 7 rounds of the draft, right? And to be able to do that year in and year out and attempt to do that every year is what gets you organizational depth, where you have a laundry list of guys that you are confident can come up and be NHL players. And if you lose someone in free agency, if you lose someone in injury, if you trade someone away, you can next man up mentality.
Absolutely.
And I think that is such an important factor I think it's the most important factor in sustained success. So for me, even though it feels painfully slow because it's been so long since we've been good, seeing so many names exceed expectations already is it's refreshing, honestly. And it's so nice to see, because when all these dudes start making the NHL and then the next wave can all come up and they can be where they were, right? And you have a group of 5 to 10 dudes that you're confident in, like that is so valuable. It's hard to even comprehend.
Yeah, absolutely. And I want to talk too about Jonatan Berggren, because he made some headlines too in Red Wings prospect news and development news. But first, I do got to talk to you guys today about Built Bar. Yeah, guys, I've talked about it a ton. What more you want me to say? You got to try the Puffs. One of the best tasting Built Bars out there. If you haven't tried them, you're missing out. It's a protein-infused marshmallow. I mean, it's a marshmallow, guys, covered in 100% real chocolate that has protein in it. Like, that's just, it sells itself. I really don't got to say too much about it. It comes in a multitude of flavors as well. It's got yummy cinnamon churro, coconut marshmallow, banana cream pie. You know, honestly, the cinnamon churro, though, I mean, cinnamon marshmallow chocolate, that's top, man. That's top. That's lethal. All Built Bars, like I said, are covered in 100% real chocolate. They're low calorie, high protein. Replace your candy bar with these. They are better. A typical candy bar can be anywhere from 2 to 300 calories. Most Built Bars contain 130 calories, 4 grams of sugar, 4 net carbs, and 17 grams of protein. They got a multitude of flavors: mint brownie, coconut almond, and new for this month, white chocolate cookies and cream. They are all delicious, and new flavors are coming out all the time. If they think a flavor might be good, they'll make it. It'll be delicious, and it'll be good for you. So go to Built.com, use promo code LOCKED15, and get 15% off your order. Go to Built.com, promo code LOCKED15, and get 15% off your order. I winged the end of that because I remembered the last second. I got to put the caption up or you're going to talk smack. So, at Built.com. That's how it actually ends. All right, segment 3 here. Lockdown Red Wings podcast, Tuesday edition. We still got a few things to talk about, and we got to talk about that final matchup against the Maple Leafs still as well. So we'll try to be succinct about it as best we can. But the biggest thing left on our docket we want to talk about is Jonatan Berggren setting a new single-season rookie record with the Grand Rapids Griffins as he reaches the 60-point threshold with the Griffins, breaking Teemu Pulkkinen's 59-point record. Not sure that bodes too well that's the record holder before Jonatan Berggren, but still great to see.
I was like, I'm not saying it.
all jokes aside, Jonatan Berggren, another guy. I mean, we talked about it halfway through the season. He looks like he could be NHL ready now, but it's another guy that he might be NHL ready now, but it doesn't really help you a lot to have him on the NHL roster this season. And Steve,
I agree with all of that, and I think it's important to remember that. It's very cool that he got, the record and whatnot, but I think it's important to remember that if dudes were really like bagging points at a high enough clip, the reason that better people don't have the record is because they got called up. So like, I didn't, you know what I mean? Like, it's cool that he got it, but like, if somebody was smashing that or on pace to smash that, I mean, they just like wouldn't have finished out the season there. But it's still nice to see. And in a season where, like you said, and you're absolutely right, there really wasn't any incentive to bring him up this year. So you might as well just let him cook down there. And clearly he did. I mean, it's cool. And he's another guy, I talked about it yesterday. I talked about Veleno and how I think he's one of the bigger storylines on the team. I think the same thing with Jonatan Berggren. I think that where he starts off the year, and more importantly, if he doesn't start off in the NHL, how quickly he gets to the NHL and how he looks is going to be one of the bigger storylines of next year too.
Dude, unless he looks like absolute crap at training camp, I can't imagine him not starting the NHL roster, especially with the sheer amount of expiring contracts this team has. I mean, maybe this might be a season where they don't make a lot of moves in the offseason just to keep room for rookies. Although that being said,
They're
lot of
making
GMs,
a lot of moves on defense, man.
a lot of GMs have a philosophy of the rookies got to earn their place. They're not just going to leave a spot open for the rookies. So they'll sign guys to contracts, and then if the rookies make it, that's like what happened with Raymond this year. I mean, Raymond had to earn his spot. Like, people didn't expect him to make it, and then except for Nolan, who was calling it all along.
They're gonna make moves and bring people in. Now, I think that there's a potential that those moves are all just like 1 year, so that we have some depth and we're not 2 injuries away from
having nothing,
signing dudes in the SHL in the middle of the season, right? Like, I think that it's probably going to be more along the lines of just filling out a roster than it is like, hey, we're just gonna give everyone a chance. But I do think that we're gonna bring in at least some small people just so that, like, hey, we're not just throwing out a all 25 and under team.
I mean, that's kind of cool. That would be kind of cool. Wouldn't be very effective, but it'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, I mean, I agree.
Marc Staal is the Detroit Red Wings nominee for the Bill Masterson Award, Bill Masterson Trophy. And for those of you who don't know, it is awarded annually to the NHL player who best exemplifies the qualities of perseverance, sportsmanship, and dedication to the sport. Every NHL team nominates their own player, and then it's voted on by the Writers Association. This is great for Marc Staal because this is a guy who, at his age, I believe he's 35 years old, just crossed the 1,000-game plateau, revitalized his career a little bit with the Detroit Red Wings this season. Last season a little bit, but more so this season as one of their most productive defensemen from the back end. And he's kind of breaking advanced metrics a little bit. Expected goals, I say that kind of half joking. Advanced metrics hate him. I'll share my screen, and I pointed this out on Twitter a couple weeks ago, and this gave me the perfect excuse to talk about my love for Marc Staal. In all situations, his expected goals above replacement on offense and his on defense are all supposed to be negative. Yet he, for some reason, is producing like crazy in his actual goals above replacement. So those double asterisks you see, I guess not everyone can see, but I shared the screen. His expected goals above replacement is supposed to be like less than 1 at even strength offense, but he is providing a solid 11 goals above replacement. That is so far and above what is expected that it's got that nice double asterisk next to the EV offense, which means if I were to scroll down, it says right here on Evolving Hockey that an indication of 2 asterisks after the titles of EV offense or EV defense plot indicates the player's value for that specific chart was outside the defending plotting range, which means that he's providing so much offense that Evolving Hockey literally can't track it. And so that more so probably pokes a hole that he's doing something that Evolving Hockey and their metrics aren't aware of. Like, he's doing something that's making him successful that they're not tracking, which means Marc Staal's reinventing the wheel here. No, I'm just kidding. But he has been incredibly productive this season from the back end. His offense is even strength offense is in the 80% percentile range. He's in a top 20% offensive defenseman in the league this year, which is fantastic for a 35-year-old who you signed to be a depth veteran leader.
Yeah, it's wild talking about a defenseman and seeing his defensive rating be 20.
Yeah, no.
But the offensive rating was an 80. So
that's Marc Staal. Overall, his percentile was 56. So he's still in the top half of the league at a 35-year-old.
Yeah, because his offense has been really effective. And especially, I want to say in the last, like, 2/3 of the year, especially, like, I think is when people really started realizing, like, this dude's actually kind of quarterback and, like, back there from the blue line. It looks really damn good. And he did offensively. And the defense, I mean, name anyone not named Moritz Seider that looked good defensively this year. Like, well, who cares?
And
we'll gladly take our wins when we can get them. And Marc Staal has been a successful re-signing for this year.
And if you look at him if you look at his goals above replacement compared to the rest of his teammates, he is currently listed as 4th in goals above replacement.
There you go.
Moritz Seider leads the entire team in goals above replacement, followed by Tyler Bertuzzi and Dylan Larkin. Marc Staal is 4th. 35-year-old depth defenseman Marc Staal is 4th in the team in goals above replacement. He is also 4th in wins above replacement and standing points above replacement. So he has been very effective at even strength offense. That is where he thrives. You can notice the blue bar that's all it is. He is 2nd in the team in expected or even strength offense goals above replacement. 2nd, just behind Dylan Larkin on this team. That is a hell of a place to be.
Yes,
so I want to use this opportunity to say this is why Marc Staal is the Masterson nominee for the Detroit Red Wings. He has revitalized his career this season, having a fantastic season. Defensively, still a little bit of a liability at times, but he has provided a good offensive spark to the point where relative to his teammates, he is a positive impact. And I was saying that. I have that one up as well. Relative to his teammates, Scotty, Marc Staal is just barely, he's a .03 expected goals per game, a positive relative to his teammates. So his offense is outweighing his lackluster defense. So he is a positive asset on the ice. All that being said, though, Scotty, this is probably Carey Price's trophy to lose. I mean, Carey Price battled some demons to come back and finish the season with Montreal Canadiens. Because in the end, a lot of these trophies, the Bill Masterson Trophy tends to go to the player who struggles. Last year went to Oscar Lindblom and his struggle with cancer. So it's nice that he's the nominee, but it's probably guys like Carey Price who are going to walk away, and deservedly so.
Yeah, for sure. There's some it generally, if there is someone who overcame like real life, not necessarily entirely hockey related circumstances and overcame them, it goes to them a lot, and it rightfully should. That kind of stuff are incredible stories, and they deserve to be recognized for them. But it is kind of cool just to see Marc Staal's name thrown in there.
Yeah, I mean,
even
I can't
though
think
there's
of another
no chance
player.
he's winning that award.
No chance. But the nomination itself is a recognition from the local chapter that he's the guy who impressed, kind of like an underdog story, basically, is what the Masterson Trophy is. Like, he was the Red Wings underdog this season, and he really beat all the odds. Let's do a quick little preview. We're already past 30 minutes in this episode, guys, but the Red Wings play the Toronto Maple Leafs for the 4th and final time. Last time out, these two teams played. The Maple Leafs won 10-7. Time before that, 7-4, and time before that, 4-5. So the Red Wings are going to try to go to Toronto and avoid the season sweep against the much-hated Toronto Maple Leafs, but also recognizably very good Toronto Maple Leafs. They are 2nd in the Atlantic Division, and Austin Matthews is a favorite to win the Hart Trophy. He has over 50 goals. He set a franchise record for the Toronto Maple Leafs, and I think he set a NHL record for Americans in scoring this year. Has over 50 goals. He might break 60 here in a second. Dude, it's unreal. Yeah, and we're going to be down Tyler Bertuzzi. So your top 6 forwards are going to be Joe Veleno, Lucas Raymond, Jacob Vrana, Philip Zadina, Pius Suter,
and then
Rasmussen on the wing.
Dude, like that last wing spot's tough, man.
I mean, Rasmussen has been playing a lot better on the wing. Since they moved him to wing, that's when the Rasmussen renaissance, so to speak, has begun.
Yeah,
I
mean, the second line, like who else are you gonna put there? Yeah, it's probably gonna be Ras. It's probably
maybe Adam Ernie or Sam Gagner. Like who? Like
I'm okay with Rasmussen out of those 3.
Yeah, you want to put your young guys in those roles to succeed because, let's face it, Gagner and Ernie aren't part of your core, but Rasmussen could be part of your core, even if it's at a bottom 6 role. We talked about that last night. But relevant to this game, the Red Wings signed Turner Elson, the alternate captain of the Grand Rapids Griffins. He was 4th on the team in total points this season, to a 1-year contract to play the last 2 games of the season. Probably because Tyler Bertuzzi can't play in Toronto and they needed another body. Not really much to say about Turner Elson other than good for him. And he's going to get a shot at the NHL level finally. I think this will be his NHL debut. He's never played more than higher than the AHL. He's got 45 points this year in 73 games with those Grand Rapids Griffins. And yeah, this will be his NHL debut if he plays in any of these next 2 games. So just good for him. Added depth because Tyler Bertuzzi can't play in Canada still. But that's really what I got to say.
Yeah. The depth's going to be brutal. The top 6 is going to be I don't want to say weakest, but the shallowest, we'll say it has been all season, potentially, which makes the bottom 6 more shallow because the top 6 have to be more shallow.
And then your defense is shallow. And you're playing one of the best.
It's probably going to get a little ugly. If it's to not get ugly, it would be at the hands of
Magnus Hellberg in net.
I completely agree.
I want to see him in. I've said it 1,000 times the last few episodes. Give him a start. Why not?
Yeah,
you signed him, play him. It's if worst case scenario, he helps your draft odds.
Yeah, I really want to see him play because honestly, I just want him to be like part of Red Wings lore forever. The guy with the sick pads that played in one game that one year.
The guy you signed from the KHL who played one game at the end of the season.
Yeah, I'm about it. I would really like to see him play a game.
I'm gonna have to DM somebody in the know and be like, so what was the point of this? Because I'm cool with it. I don't really care either way, but I'm just like,
no, it doesn't hurt anything. It's just weird.
Yeah. Also, it's just really, really interesting.
It is.
He's a beautiful man.
He is. Oh man, he is.
I wonder what that's like being handsome,
dude.
I can't.
I wish that I could. If you like, you imagine just like waking up, looking in the mirror, and then just looking like that one day, being like,
and being a professional hockey player,
being like, whoa, I look like this every day. That's crazy.
Instead, I wake up and I look in the mirror and I have no hair. So.
Yeah, you do that.
No, I sleep with a hat on, so actually when I wake up, I don't have to see it.
Brian puts on a hat so that when he wakes up in the morning, he doesn't have to look at the fact that he's bald in the mirror.
I don't get that shot at my confidence. Oh, we have fun here. We recovered nicely from that rough start, though.
I didn't think it was a rough start. I thought it was all over the place, so we corralled it pretty nicely.
Yeah, there was a lot going on this episode. All right. Any final thoughts, my man?
My foot's doing all right. Everything's good down there now. And
we're no longer locked down foot cramps.
Nah, no, I'm good. I think I'm probable. I don't even think I'm day to day anymore.
Oh, sick.
I'm ready to roll.
Want to thank you guys for making Locked On Red Wings your first listen every single day. Now make your second listen Locked On NHL. I'm clicking on the link and it doesn't take me anywhere. So I'm just going to say listen to Locked On NHL because I have nothing to say. It didn't redirect me to the read.
Listen to Locked On NHL.
Listen to Locked On NHL.
And a good time. And
they talk about the NHL.
And the playoffs are coming around. So it's going to be fun shows. Yeah.
Scotty did a way better job of ad-libbing that than I did.
I'm a writer. Oh, so you remember that one. You remember that banner. You don't ever remember any of the ad read ones, but you remember that one. All right.
I have that banner on tap. No, my finger's always floating over that one.
Yeah, it's itching. His finger's itching.
Same time. Same place. It's your team. Every day.
Every day.